I'm scrolling through Instagram when my thumb freezes mid-swipe. The screen glows with an image that doesn't make sense at first. A birthday cake with cartoon figures piped in frosting. The exact designs I used to draw for Tessa's birthdays when we were kids. Behind it stands my sister, my parents, and a dozen friends, raising champagne glasses. The caption reads, "Early birthday celebrations for the best sister ever. Birthday girl. Family first. Today." My 29th birthday. The one they all claimed they couldn't celebrate because they were too busy. My fingers tremble as I zoom in on the photo. The cake has bluebirds along the edge. The same pattern I sketched for Tessa's 10th birthday. The party is happening at my parents' house, where I was told they had plumbing issues when I suggested a small dinner there tonight. "Maybe you should put the phone down for tonight," Reed says softly from the couch beside me. His eyes hold no surprise, only a gentle sadness that says he expected something like this. I pass him my phone, without a word. My shoulders slump as the room seems to tilt sideways. "I texted your mom 3 days ago to remind her about today," he says, his voice careful. "I even mentioned how important it would be after losing your grandpa this year. This isn't the first time. Last Thanksgiving, Reed noticed how my mother interrupted me 4 times during dinner but hung on every word when Tessa described her new job. At our engagement dinner, he caught the way my parents showcased Tessa's college graduation photos, but never mentioned my master's degree. It's just their way, I always told him, the excuse worn smooth from years of repetition. Tessa needs more attention. She always has. But Reed never argued. He just quietly observed, collecting these moments like evidence, waiting for me to see the pattern myself. My phone buzzes with a text from Tessa. "Have you seen the pics from my pre-birthday bash? So amazing?" I switch off notifications without responding. The living room falls silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Reed doesn't fill the quiet with platitudes. He simply places his hand over mine, his palm warm against my cold fingers. "You deserve to be celebrated, Jess, not forgotten." Morning light spreads across our kitchen table when my phone lights up with my mother's text. "You're being awfully quiet. Tessa was disappointed you didn't comment on her pre-birthday celebration." My thumb hovers over the keyboard. For 29 years, I've been the understanding daughter, the one who doesn't make waves, the peacekeeper who pretends not to notice when she's overlooked. I type, "Sorry, I was busy celebrating my own birthday, alone," then delete it. I type, "Didn't realize my birthday was the perfect day for Tessa's party," delete. I type, "I'm fine, happy for her." My finger hovers over the send button before I delete that too. The screen goes dark as I set the phone face down on the table. What happens if I stop being the good daughter? If I finally admit how much it hurts? Every holiday gathering, every family tradition, all of it balanced on the fiction that we're equally valued. I've spent my entire adult life building my identity around being the accommodating one, the one who never complains. Reed slides a coffee mug across the table. Our eyes meet, and he says simply, "Whatever you decide to do, I'm with you, even if that means missing Thanksgiving this year." I walk to our refrigerator where family photos are held by fruit-shaped magnets. My parents and Tessa at her college graduation. The 5 of us at Christmas last year. I remove them one by one, until only one remains. Me at 16 with Grandpa, standing proudly beside the birthday cake he made after my parents forgot. Again. "You're the thoughtful one, Jessie," he told me that day. "The one who notices what others miss." I touch the photo gently. For the first time, I wonder if what he really meant was that I was the only one in the family who noticed when I was missing. 3 days later, I'm searching through my mother's kitchen cabinets for Grandpa's apple cake recipe when my fingers brush against a thick manila folder tucked behind the cookbooks. Curiosity pulls it into my hands. The tab reads, "Family Celebrations" in Mom's precise handwriting. Inside, dozens of colorful invitations spill across the counter. Birthday banners and balloon designs jump out at me, all for Tessa's celebrations spanning years. My throat tightens as I flip through card after card, finding not a single invitation from any of my childhood birthdays. Reed appears beside me, drawn by my sudden stillness. "What did you find?" I wordlessly pass him the folder. He spreads the invitations across the kitchen island in neat rows, his teacher's methodical nature taking over. His fingers trace dates, connecting invisible dots. "Look at these," he says, his voice carefully neutral. "Tessa's pre-birthday party was on your actual birthday 3 years ago too. And here 5 years back. He taps another invitation. Same thing. I stand frozen, unable to form words as he creates a chronological timeline of the pattern we've never acknowledged. My phone buzzes with a group text from Mom. Family photos next month. Everyone wear cream-colored tops for Tess's graduation album. No mention of my recent promotion to head librarian. The scent of Mom's distinctive perfume Chanel No. 5 clings to the invitation papers, the same smell that filled the house during childhood when company was coming. My stomach turns. Are you okay? Reed asks, watching my face. I shake my head. I've never kept a single birthday invitation. I don't think I ever received one. Sunday dinner unfolds at my parents' home with predictable precision. The familiar scent of pot roast wafts through the dining room as Reed and I stand in the doorway. My family huddles around the polished oak table, laughing over framed photos from the party. None of them notice our arrival. Look at this one of Tessa with the cake, my father says, adjusting his reading glasses. Brenda, you outdid yourself with those decorations. Mom, I say, my voice unnaturally quiet. 3 heads turn simultaneously, surprise registering on their faces. Why did you choose my birthday for Tessa's celebration? The room falls silent. My mother's hand flutters dismissively in the air between us. Oh, honey, you've never been one for big celebrations anyway, and Tessa's friends could only come that Saturday. My chest constricts. The casual cruelty of her words steals my breath. Reed's hand finds the small of my back, warm and steady. We actually need to head out early, he announces smoothly. Other commitments tonight. But you just got here, my father protests half-heartedly. Reed guides me toward the door as my vision blurs. Back home, I curl up on our couch, the weight of realization settling on my shoulders. It's not just birthdays, is it? I whisper as Reed hands me a cup of tea. No, he answers honestly. Remember your master's graduation? They left early for Tessa's soccer banquet. Your art show opening? They arrived an hour late and left after 20 minutes. The pattern extends beyond celebrations. Every achievement minimized, every milestone an afterthought. My confidence at work, my self-image, all shaped by years of being secondary. What about our future kids? I ask suddenly. Would they grow up watching their mother treated as an afterthought by their grandparents? Reed sits beside me, his weight shifting the couch cushions. It's not just about the birthday, Jess. It's about them teaching you your place in the hierarchy all these years. We spend the evening sorting through childhood mementos, report cards with straight A's that earned brief nods while Tessa's B-minuses merited celebrations. Newspaper clippings of my debate team victories buried in drawers while Tessa's participation trophies claimed permanent shelf space. My phone rings Tessa. I answer out of habit. What did you say to Mom? She demands, her voice thick with tears. She's been crying all evening. Just because you need to be the center of attention for once. I end the call without responding, my hands trembling. Reed watches me carefully. What are you thinking? The weight of decades presses down on me. I don't know if I should confront them directly with all this evidence or just start withdrawing without explanation. Your mother has a way of twisting your words when you speak, Reed observes. Maybe a letter would make it harder for her to dismiss you. I look down at the photographs and invitations spread across our coffee table, years of evidence in my hands. The question burns inside me. Am I finally ready to speak up about being erased by my own family, or would walking away quietly spare me more pain in the long run? The clock ticks steadily on our mantel. For the first time, I understand that whatever I choose, nothing will ever be the same. 2 days later, the notification appears on my phone like a tiny bomb. My mother has posted a collection on Facebook titled Morgan Family Through the Years. I scroll through dozens of photographs, spanning 2 decades family vacations, holiday gatherings, birthday celebrations. Tessa appears in nearly every image, while I'm visible in only 2, a group shot at my parents' anniversary and my high school graduation. It's as if I've been systematically erased from our family history. Did you see what Mom posted? Tessa texts minutes later. So many great memories. I set my phone face down on the kitchen counter without responding. Tomorrow, perhaps. Or never. Your cousin Diane commented asking if you'll be at the Labor Day barbecue, Reed says, glancing at his own phone. Want me to handle it? I nod, grateful for his quiet intervention. He's begun responding to family invitations for both of us now, crafting polite declines that reveal nothing of my raw feelings. Each message is a small shield protecting me from the inevitable guilt trips that would follow if I responded myself. Later that evening, my friend Maya calls. "Your sister reached out to me today. She says she's worried about you, that you've been distant lately and she doesn't know why." She actually cried, Jess. My fingers tighten around the phone. "What did you tell her?" "That I hadn't noticed anything unusual," Maya says, but it felt calculated, like she was trying to position herself as the worried, innocent party. The knot in my stomach tightens. She's rewriting the narrative. The library phone rings Thursday morning, interrupting my meeting with the children's program coordinator. The receptionist pokes her head in. "Your mother's on line 1. Says it's urgent." 20 minutes later, I've rescheduled my meeting and discovered the emergency was my mother, wanting advice about what to wear to Tessa's work function next weekend. The third such call this month. When I return home that evening, the answering machine blinks with 2 messages from my father. His voice sounds uncharacteristically emotional. "Jessie, your mother is heartbroken over this unexplained distance. Whatever's bothering you, can't we talk about it like adults? Call us back." That night, I wake at 3 a.m, heart pounding, a vice grip of anxiety squeezing my chest. Reed turns over, places his warm hand on my back. "Same dream?" he asks softly. I nod. The recurring nightmare where I'm shouting at a family dinner table but no sound comes out. Everyone continues eating and chatting as if I'm not there. The weekend arrives with blessed relief. Reed has established a new tradition Saturday mornings on the porch swing with coffee, and no mention of my family. The gentle creak of the swing and the distant sound of neighborhood children playing creates a bubble of peace around us. "I was thinking," he says, refilling my mug from the thermos. "Maybe we should start planning something special for your birthday next year. Something just for us." I lean against his shoulder, feeling my breathing slow for the first time in days. While reorganizing our home office Sunday afternoon, I discover a faded index card tucked inside one of my grandfather's old cookbooks. His handwriting, shaky but determined, details his special birthday cake recipe. At the bottom, a note. "For my Jessie, the thoughtful one who notices what others miss." My first genuine smile in weeks spreads across my face. On Monday afternoon, the quiet corner table at Riverside Cafe offers little protection when my mother arrives 15 minutes late. She's chosen this meeting spot, insisting we talk, just the 2 of us, about why I'm pulling away from the family. "Tessa's absolutely devastated," she says, stirring her tea without looking up. "And frankly, so am I. This silent treatment is childish, Jessamine." She continues for 20 minutes how I've always been sensitive, how families need to stick together, how my sudden coldness is breaking everyone's heart. Reed's words from last night echo in my mind. "Your feelings aren't up for debate, Jess. They're valid simply because you feel them. You threw Tessa a party on my birthday and didn't even call me." I interrupt, my voice steadier than I expected. "Not this year, not 3 years ago, not 5 years ago, when you did the exact same thing." Her practiced smile falters. "That's what this is about? A birthday party? Jessamine, you've never cared about celebrations before." I place the printed Instagram photos on the table between us, each one dated, each one showing birthday celebrations for Tessa scheduled on or near my birthday. "Year after year after year. These were just convenient dates for everyone," she stammers. "Scheduling conflicts, you know how it is." For the first time in my life, I don't rush to fill the uncomfortable silence with apologies or justifications. I simply watch her squirm, her fingers fidgeting with her napkin, eyes darting between the photos and my face. Evelyn, the senior librarian who witnessed one of my mother's disruptive calls, stops by my desk the following afternoon. "I couldn't help overhearing your mother last week," she says quietly. "Reminded me of my sister, the emergency calls that were never emergencies." She tells me about setting boundaries with her own family in her 50s. "Took me decades longer than you," she says with a rueful smile. "Our Wednesday book club has several members who've walked similar paths. You'd be welcome to join us." That evening, Reed spreads a map across our kitchen table. "I found 3 cabins for rent near Black Ridge Mountain," he says, "where your grandfather used to take you fishing. Maybe next year for your birthday we go somewhere with no cell service, no social media." I trace the winding roads on the map, feeling something like hope unfurling in my chest. "There's something else," he adds, sliding a real estate listing toward me. "That neighborhood we looked at last month, 20 minutes farther out? A corner lot just came available. The house in the photo has a wraparound porch, perfect for a swing. Far enough away that dropping by would require actual planning." "What do you think?" Reed asks. I place my hand over his. I think it's time for a change. 2 days later, I watch my phone screen light up with my mother's name, for the 5th time today. With practiced calm, I silence it and place it face down on the coffee table. "Another urgent call about nothing?" Reed asks, glancing up from his laptop. "Probably about Thanksgiving centerpieces," I say, reaching for my book instead. She can leave a message. The new rules Reed and I established last week feel strange but necessary. Family messages wait 24 hours before responses. Calls go to voicemail during evenings and weekends. The constant digital tether I've maintained for years is finally being severed, one notification at a time. While I rebuild my sense of self, Reed handles our house hunting in Riverbrook, 15 minutes farther from my parents' neighborhood. He screens properties, focusing on homes with private backyards where we could host our own celebrations without uninvited drop-ins. "The colonial on Maple has that covered porch you wanted," he says, turning his laptop toward me. "And a fence tall enough that your mother couldn't peek over it." I smile at his understanding of what I need without me having to say it. Instead of attending Sunday brunch at my parents' yesterday, I visited the art museum with Evelyn. For the first time in years, I completed an entire day without checking family social media. No comparing the carefully curated images to my reality. No stomach-dropping moments discovering events I wasn't invited to attend. When the phone rings again, I recognize the specific ringtone I've assigned to my mother. The urge to answer is strong, hardwired after years of conditioning. "Thanksgiving planning," Reed predicts without looking up. I answer with calm detachment. "Hi, Mom. Finally, I've been calling all day. We need to discuss the Thanksgiving seating arrangement. Your Aunt Meredith is bringing her new boyfriend, and Tessa wants to make sure she's seated next to—" "We won't be coming for Thanksgiving this year," I interrupt, my voice steady despite my racing heart. The silence on the other end lasts 3 full seconds. "What do you mean you won't be coming? It's Thanksgiving. Everyone comes for Thanksgiving. Everyone comes for Thanksgiving." "We've made other plans," I say, offering no further explanation. Reed gives me a thumbs up from across the room. The doorbell rings Tuesday afternoon, while Evelyn and 2 women from our book club are having coffee in our living room. Through the front window, I spot Tessa's car parked at the curb. "Your sister," Reed says quietly. Just like I warned this morning, they're realizing the silent treatment isn't working. When I open the door, Tessa bursts in with red-rimmed eyes. "How could you do this to everyone? You're punishing the whole family over one forgotten birthday." The room falls silent as my book club friends witness her dramatic entrance. Tessa freezes, suddenly realizing her audience. "Tessa, these are my friends from the library," I say calmly. "We're in the middle of discussing our book." "I need to talk to you privately," she hisses. One of my friends, Patricia, sets down her teacup. "My sister used to do the same thing," she says, not quite under her breath. "Make everything public when it suited her, then demand privacy when it didn't." As my sister stands crying in our living room, I wonder, is it more compassionate to maintain the comfortable fiction that had protected them from facing their behavior? Or to speak a truth that might actually create the possibility of authentic relationship? The next morning, Reed installs the new security system, programming it to alert us of visitors. He quietly changes the locks my mother has keys to, placing the new keys on our kitchen hook. "Just a precaution," he says, but we both know it's necessary. Extended family has begun noticing my absence. Cousin Sarah calls to check if I'm okay after missing 2 family gatherings. Uncle James emails to invite us to his anniversary party, separate from the larger family gathering. They're starting to see what I've seen for years, Reed observes as we sort through these genuine invitations. At my desk that evening, I write everything down, every birthday celebration held on my birthday, every achievement overlooked, every time I was expected to drop everything for Tessa's needs. Not to send, but to clarify my own understanding of what happened. My father calls Reed directly on Saturday morning. Stanley sounds different. Reed tells me after hanging up. His voice was shaking. He asked what they could do to fix this situation. Never actually said what this situation is, though. Later that afternoon, our realtor calls our offer on the Riverbrook house has been accepted. A natural distance is forming, one that can't be crossed with unexpected visits or last-minute demands. When the mail arrives Monday, a cream-colored envelope stands out among the bills. Inside is an invitation on expensive stationery. Jessamine's birthday celebration, at my parents' home scheduled exactly on my 30th birthday. Tessa's name is noticeably absent from the host line. I hand it to Reed silently, watching his eyebrows rise as he reads it. "Well," he says, setting it on the counter. "That's interesting timing. The birthday invitation sits on our coffee table like a loaded gun. The curled calligraphy spelling out my name feels like a trap rather than a celebration." Reed's phone call to my father confirms what we already suspected. "Your father admitted it," Reed says, setting his phone down. "The party was your mother's idea to end this nonsense," as she put it. "They never intended to celebrate your birthday. It was just a way to get you back into the fold." I nod, unsurprised but still stung. Of course. My laptop chimes with a new email. Brenda's name appears in bold. The subject line reads, "Please read this, Jessamine." I open it, and Reed reads over my shoulder. Paragraphs of manipulative text unfold before us. According to my mother, my overreaction is causing Tessa to have anxiety attacks. I'm destroying family harmony right before the important holidays. She wonders how I can be so selfish when family should come first. Reed points to the timestamp. Notice when she sent this? Right after we announced buying the new house. Right after we mentioned having local commitments for Christmas instead of going to their place. The timing isn't coincidental. It never is with my mother. I close the laptop and look up at Reed, something shifting inside me. I'm not responsible for protecting them from the consequences of their actions anymore. The words feel strange in my mouth, but right in my heart. 3 days later, we sit at a corner table in Riverside Grill waiting for my family. It's the same restaurant where they held my truncated graduation dinner years ago, cut short when Tessa twisted her ankle at soccer practice. The symmetry feels appropriate. I've brought the folder containing birthday invitations spanning 2 decades. Every one of Tessa's carefully preserved. None of mine. The evidence sits between Reed and me like a shield. When they arrive, my father looks uncomfortable, my mother determined, and Tessa unusually quiet. They slide into the booth across from us, my mother immediately reaching to squeeze my hand. I pull back before she makes contact. "We need to talk about something important," I say, before they can direct the conversation. I open the folder and begin laying out invitations in chronological order. "These are all the birthday celebrations you've planned over the years." "What is this about?" my mother asks, but her eyes betray recognition. "Every invitation is for Tessa. There isn't a single one for me." I point to specific dates. "This one was held on my actual birthday 3 years ago. So was this one 5 years ago. And this year's party too." Reed calmly confirms dates when my father questions them, his voice steady and factual. My father stares at the evidence, genuine shock crossing his features. My mother shifts between defensive anger and wounded victimhood, her mouth opening and closing as explanations fail her. Tessa simply sits still, perhaps truly seeing the pattern for the first time. "Birthdays aren't everything," my mother finally says, her voice hollow. "Then why were Tessa's always treated as significant events?" I ask quietly. The silence stretches. A waiter approaches, then retreats, sensing the tension. "I don't need you to suddenly start celebrating my birthday," I continue, my voice finding strength. "I need you to acknowledge that I've never been as important to this family as Tessa." The truth hangs in the air between us, finally spoken aloud after decades of silence. My mother reaches for her water glass, her hand visibly trembling. She suddenly looks older, uncertain, her practiced manipulations failing before our eyes. The restaurant lights catch the lines around her eyes, the gray at her temples that she usually colors so carefully. "We'd like you to come for Christmas," she says, changing tactics. "We can start fresh then." "No," I reply simply. "Reed and I will be celebrating in our new home. We're looking forward to establishing our own traditions this year." My wedding ring catches the light as I rest my hand on the table. The weight of it grounds me, a constant reminder of the family I chose and who chooses me daily. Reed's fingers lightly brush against mine. My father turns to my mother, finding his voice at last. "Did we really never celebrate her birthdays properly?" The question creates the first crack in the family's collective denial. My mother doesn't answer, her eyes fixed on her water glass. Tears slip silently down my cheeks, but for the first time, they're not from hurt. They come from relief, from finally standing in my truth without apology. Tessa hasn't spoken a single word the entire time. Her silence speaks volumes, her eyes moving between the invitations and my face as something shifts in her expression. The drive home unfolds in comfortable silence. Reed and I both recognize that holiday gatherings will be strained for years, but perhaps eventually authentic. The car feels lighter somehow, as if we've shed a weight I've been carrying since childhood. "What do you think Tessa was thinking?" Reed asks finally. She barely said a word. "I don't know," I answer honestly. But her silence felt different than usual, like she was actually listening instead of waiting to talk. We pass a small bakery, its lights still glowing despite the late hour. Without discussion, Reed pulls into the parking lot. Inside, I order a small chocolate cake with simple decoration. Not to replace what was missing all these years, but to celebrate the courage it took to finally speak up. The baker boxes it carefully, adding a single candle without being asked. "For someone special?" she asks with a smile. I look at Reed waiting by the door, then back at the cake. "Yes," I answer. "For me." The morning sun warms our garden as I arrange the last of the sunflowers in a tall ceramic vase. My 30th birthday unfolds around me like a gentle breeze, nothing like the hollow ache of birthdays past. Our new home sits 20 minutes farther from my parents' neighborhood, close enough for occasional visits, distant enough for peace. The Harrisons just pulled up. Reed calls from inside. He appears at the patio door balancing a tray of lemonade glasses, his smile reaching his eyes when he spots me. Evelyn's bringing that key lime pie she promised. Friends arrive in 2s and 3s, filling our garden with genuine laughter. Reed moves among them with easy confidence, his hand occasionally finding the small of my back as we pass that silent signal that once meant protection now simply says, connection. When the mail arrives mid-celebration, I find a store-bought card from my parents nestled between bills. The pastel envelope holds a generic birthday message with their signatures. Last year, this would have hollowed me out. Today, I simply place it on the mantel alongside the handmade cards from friends who chose to see me. "You okay?" Reed asks, appearing at my shoulder. "Better than okay," I answer, meaning it. 2 weeks later, my phone lights up with Tessa's name on the morning of her birthday. My stomach tightens with old habits, the automatic yes forming before I've even answered. "Jessie, are you and Reed free tonight? I'm having a small dinner at my place for my birthday." I glance at our calendar where we've penciled in tickets to the community theater. "We already have plans tonight," I say, the words neither apologetic nor harsh, "but we'd love to take you to lunch on Saturday to celebrate properly." The pause that follows feels like growth rather than guilt. "Saturday would be nice," Tessa says finally, her voice holding something new, perhaps respect. After we hang up, Reed looks up from his coffee. "A year ago, you would have canceled our plans and gone running and resented it the whole time." His observation warms me more than any celebration could. On our anniversary the following month, I lead Reed to the garage where I've hidden his gift beneath an old sheet. I pull the fabric away to reveal a bookshelf crafted from the weathered wood of my grandfather's workbench. I found someone to repurpose it. I explain as Reed runs his fingers along the smooth surface where Grandpa's tools once rested. The only person who saw me then, and the person who never stopped seeing me now together. Reed pulls me close, his heartbeat steady against my cheek. Our partnership has shifted from his constant protection to something more balanced, each of us standing guard over the life we're building, taking turns being the strong one. Spring arrives with unexpected news. The pregnancy test shows positive on a quiet Tuesday morning. My first thought isn't worry about difficult grandparents or complicated family gatherings. Instead, I picture birthday cakes with my child's name spelled in frosting, Christmas mornings filled with wonder rather than comparison, traditions centered on genuine celebration. I sit in Grandpa's old rocking chair on our front porch, one hand resting on my still flat belly. The garden we planted last fall shows the first signs of returning life perennials instead of annuals, plants that come back stronger each season. The boundaries I've established have created space for brief but authentic family interactions. Birthday calls are no longer painful obligations. Holiday visits are shorter but somehow more honest, the old patterns losing power each time I refuse to play my assigned role. Reed brings me a blanket as the spring sunset paints our garden in gold. "What are you thinking about?" he asks, sitting on the porch step beside me. When I finally realized that family doesn't have the right to make you invisible, everything changed, I say, watching the shadows lengthen across our yard. But I wonder, would you have spoken up sooner than I did, or continued the pattern of sacrifice to keep the peace? The chair creaks beneath me, Grandpa's craftsmanship still holding strong after all these years, like the parts of myself I've reclaimed, weathered but unbroken.